Now, the IPO frenzy that's gripped the Dalal Street of late has had the experts worried. While it's backed by a healthy market conditions, strong growth prospects and stable interest rate environment, experts caution that the investors should avoid getting carried away by short-term gains. Now, the recent IPO of a Yamaha dealership, Resourceful Automobile, which is an SME with 2 showrooms and 1 workshop, has started a debate online about the craze for IPOs. The dealership received bids worth 4,800 crore rupees, and the IPO was subscribed 418 times for an issue worth 12 crore rupees. The questions we ask today: what are the checks and balances that need to be put in place when a company files for an IPO, the guardrails that are required to protect investors, and lastly, and the most important aspect, investor education. To discuss this, we are going to be joined by Ajay Roti. He's the founder and CEO of Tax Compass, and Arun Kejriwal, the founder at Kejriwal Research and Investment Services. But before we go across to the 2 gentlemen, let's in fact go across to Rishabh Bhatnagar, who visited the Resourceful Auto to see what the hype is all about. Here's a ground report.
Right behind me is one of the 2 showrooms that is owned by Resourceful Automobile. Why I'm telling you this is because Resourceful Automobile's SME IPO has hit the markets and it has caused quite the flutter. This IPO worth about 12 crores has been oversubscribed by 400x, making the bids at about 4,800 crores. Now, why this is intriguing is because this company has a revenue of only about 17 crores and a profit after tax of only 1.5 crores after this is for the 11 months that have ended since February 29. What we're also seeing is that this is the trend with SME IPOs. We've seen quite a lot of bubbles like this being created, 100x, 200x, 300x, and now a 418x subscribed IPO right behind me. In terms of assets, this showroom, another showroom, and only 1 workshop. That's all that this company has. It has about 8 employees according to its RHP as well. It is a dealer of Yamaha motorbikes, and that is what it sort of excels in. What we're also seeing is that this operates under the Sahani Automobiles name, and the subscription is now closed. It will head for listing on August 29, and what we'll now see is whether the grey market premium holds up on listing day.
All right, Mr. Roti, thank you very much for joining us. Now, you just saw that report. Now, Resourceful Automobiles is just another example of investors throwing caution to the winds and jumping the SME bandwagon, actually, to make a quick buck. What do you make of this overheated market? And do you think that we need to do more in terms of investor education?
Yes, there's always a scope for doing more on investor education. And I think that's really the problem here. It's not about, the company in question. That sort of is dependent on facts and what we are looking at. Now, what we need to remember here is this is SME IPO, and therefore this is not something that the SEBI has approved, but the stock market, the stock exchanges approve these IPOs, and then all the filing documents, etc. This case clearly, led by the frenzy that's there. People bidding for listing gains. I think what has changed, and that's the most important thing here, and that also gives you a context for what that 4,800 crores is. Because unlike many years back, you don't really need to part with your money, cut out a check and subscribe for IPO anymore. You can actually block the money in your bank account. Your money does not even leave your bank account, and then you participate in the IPO, and then if you don't get allotment, the blocking gets released. Therefore, in that sense, this 4,800 crores has to be seen in that context. This is not a money which the company has received. They will not receive any part of it other than the 12 crores that they would be doing for subscription. Nor would this 4,800 be something that people have parted with. So to an extent, we need to discount that whole 4,800 crores going. But of course, you can't discount the fact that there is a frenzy. And then people sort of are chasing these kind of issues where if you actually see most of the money they are raising is going to repay a loan that is there. Like you rightly identified, there's not much assets. It really does not justify the price that they are seeking, etc. Of course, all of this, really the only way to address this is more of education, get people to read offer documents which are put out. There can't be a substitute for that.
All right. Also joining us right now is Arun Kejriwal, the founder at Kejriwal Research and Investment Services. Thank you very much, Mr. Kejriwal, for joining us. Mr. Kejriwal, SME, of course, is called the index of opportunity, but do you think that it's a bit too overheated? This is a story that's grabbed headlines. It's set social media buzz. What do you make of it? And as I was asking earlier, do you think we need more investor education?
So, while education is needed, that is a fact, but let's understand what's happened. 15,000 is the application amount that you do on a main board issue. Typically, you do 1,20,000 on an SME. The allotment chances are as bad as they could be, but when you get allotted on the SME, you get 1,20,000 worth of allotment. On the main board, it is 15,000. Assuming a main board IPO gives you 40% return, you get 6,000. But an SME IPO returns to you anything between 80 and 90% on day one. So against that 120, you are easily making a lakh of rupees. It is this greed, it is this hope, it is this aspiration that I will make, if successful, a lakh of rupees on my application, which is driving people to do things which seem ludicrous, which seem, unimaginable to most of us. While I believe that the company has done no wrong in saying what it is raising, it is the investors who are flush with money, who have made a lot of money over the last 12 months, who jump in to anything that starts with SME, whether it is the NSE or the BSE. I'll just take you back about 4 or 5 months ago, where there was a small spice company which came out of, I think, Andhra Pradesh. The issue was for about 9 crores, and they gathered something over 10,000 crores. The number of applications that the company got, the refund process that they had to undertake, the paperwork that had to be paid for, made the company poorer by an amount against that 9 crore issue of over 50 lakhs. Something similar would happen to this company because they had 2.5 lakh applications. It's a combination of things that are happening in the market where retail has gone crazy. The word SME is the buzzword of the day, and the regulator, that is in this case the exchanges, are least bothered at looking at what the document states.
Right. So, Mr. Roti, the other part of it is going to be, do you think we need to set up certain guardrails to curb this frenzy? Obviously, this is not regulated enough.
Yeah, so that's definitely one way of looking at it. And like Arun said, this is really the regulator here is the stock exchanges which has to approve. And, of course, there's definitely a lot more that can be done there. And the other reason why we need to act and we sort of need to put some guardrails, like you said, in place is because this is a market that needs to be there. A good market for SMEs to raise money. Not really to, like the tweet that you're putting up from Deepak, to sort of have that ability for SMEs to reach and approach the public market and raise money. Now, you can't have a situation where because of issues which are not scrutinized properly, issues which should not have been seeing this day coming up, then you're spoiling chances for the real good issues. You actually will have investors who will, sort of relate everything with the same thing, paint all of them with the same brush to say all of the SME IPOs are like this, not scrutinized. So I think there is a need for us to address, get the right issues. If you just see the prospectus filed by this company, there are too many red flags. There are too many red flags in my view. And I think those are the things that need to be addressed. I don't think we should be throwing the baby with the bathwater here to say the whole SME approach and the SME exchange and the SME IPO is bad. I think that is needed, but we really need to put a lot more, scrutiny and guardrails in place here.
Now, Mr. Kejriwal, isn't that the fear, that this whole SMEs are going to be overshadowed by stories like this one. What, according to you, are those crucial guardrails that we need to put, that regulators perhaps need to put in more effort to curb this frenzy?
So let me give you one very interesting statistic. September 23, we had 24 new merchant bankers who launched their first ever SME IPO in that one single month. Just imagine 24 new merchant bankers, 1 month launching their IPO. It gives you a sense of the kind of frenzy that is coming into the market. Let's understand, it's the regulator SEBI who approves these merchant bankers. It's not the stock exchange. So let's not blame the stock exchange themselves. SEBI has collected fees and cleared a merchant banker to tap the capital markets. Now let's go forward. While on the main board, we have 1, 2, 3 issues in a week at best, which means 10 to 12 in a month. On the SME, it's rare to find anything less than 20, 25 issues happening in 1 month. This kind of frenzy, this kind of numbers, someone needs to get their act together. We need to have some sort of proper evaluation of these companies. Merchant bankers write anything that they like and the issue gets cleared. Why? Stock exchange doesn't have the mechanism to check, verify, and find out what these companies do. You have people who are in the business of trading and who show that their revenues have grown 10x in the first year, 40x in the second year, and 100x in the third year. These shares quote at valuations which are ridiculous. For example, the current flavor in the market is solar and defense. Anything that comes to the stock exchange on the SME, which has the letter S, which refers to solar, quotes at 100 times in 1 week and 300 and 400 times in 3 months. You can't have this euphoria. Somewhere a line has to be drawn, and it's the regulator, the self-regulated regulator, in this case the exchange, which says, sorry, I'm going to look at your papers all over again.
All right. Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Roti, thank you very much, both of you, for taking out the time to be with us and for talking us through what's causing this frenzy and perhaps the way forward. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, and on that note, it's a wrap on the big story, but do stay with us on NDTV Profit as we bring you more.